Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel and to our next episode in our WCW series in TEW 2020. I of course am Sierra Daredevil, and as I mentioned in the last episode, today is not going to be um it's not going to be another episode of Nitro or any show for that matter this week, because of the way that the game is set up. I can only do 4 Mondays in a month. And since this month has 5 Mondays, we're going to do a special look at the rest of the wrestling world in the game. Kind of see where things are in August of 1997. Kind of see how things are playing out and all that stuff. So, um, we do have Stevie Ray moving on as our first news story here. Stevie Ray and the Taskmaster both we decided not to renew the contracts of. Stevie Ray we wrote off TV. Taskmaster, I mean, he's been written off for a while. He's been a road agent, but I just decided to get rid of him at this point. These ones we didn't actually lose those TV deals. We got a better TV deal in those areas. So one thing I wanted to point out before we start diving into a lot of the other stuff going on in the rest of the world, one thing I wanted to point out, New Japan, as you see there, number 5, New Japan launched a new stable. I got to tell you, this might be the greatest stable in the history of ever. Okay? Are you all ready for this? Rumors are swirling that a new stable, Backstage Pass, is going to debut soon in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It will apparently consist of Hulk Hogan, Masahiro Chono, and Yuji Nagata. The fact that those three are going to be in a stable together, and then on top of that it's called Backstage Pass. You know, when Hogan's infamous for backstage politics and stuff. I just thought that was amazing. First off, the fact that Hogan, Chono, and Nagata are going to be in a group together, because that's amazing. And then it was crazy. And when I saw that, I was like, what the hell? That's awesome. WWF, they had lost. They had dropped to medium size at one point, and so they were on a cooling period. They're officially done with their cooling period now, so now they're back to big size. So a little bit potentially more of a challenge from them on that end there. Not much else. FMW apparently decided to hire Bruce Hart for some reason. OVW is preparing to debut. They are starting here in this now, and so we'll have to see what OVW ends up doing in this save. Mary Apache winning the UWA World Women's Championship. So I did mention in this that, we always obviously we're always looking at us, number 1, WCW. And we usually look at WWF. We're usually looking at all their shows and all that kind of stuff. But, there's a whole nother world out there. As you see, there are 24 companies total. We usually only look at 2. So what's the rest of the wrestling world looking like? Well, number 3 in the world right now is the USWA. No idea how they became that big. It's kind of crazy, but to be fair, they also have a crazy good roster right now too. As you can see, their popularity is all over the place. They have 70 in the Mid-South, 71 in the Southeast, but then you go all the way down to Mid-Atlantic is 39 and Midwest is 34. So their popularity is all over the place. They do have some Canadian, Mexican, and Mexico popularity. I think the rest of this is like what they started off at, is 10 there. So, but yeah, so that's what's going on here. Jerry Jarrett is the owner. Jerry Lawler's the booker. Lawler's, a major star there. We'll look through their thing. So, WCW talent, Two Cold Scorpios, currently their world heavyweight champion there. They have superstar Billy Graham, Brian Adams, Brian Lawler, who for some reason doesn't have a picture, Chris Adams, that person, Dory Funk Jr., Doug Gilbert. They got Hector Guerrero there wrestling. Jake Roberts is wrestling for them. Jeff Jarrett, obviously. Jim Neidhart's there. Kamala's there. Luger's there. This is the only This is the only company so far that would hire Luger after we let him go. So we're going on a handshake deal for $5,100 per show. Imagine paying Lex Luger $5,100 per show in 1997. Of course, to be fair, we're paying him monthly and paying him way more than that, but still. Miss Texas, who's Jacqueline, for some reason doesn't have a picture there. She's the women's champion there. Nanae Takahashi was there. You know, also working for WCW as well. Paul Orndorff, after we let him go, he went to USWA. But he is set to retire. He's going to be retiring in another month. So I thought about bringing him in for a one-off just to, like, officially kind of, you know, be like, good to, you know, thank you for the time you spent in our company kind of thing. But I haven't decided yet. I'd have to run a show in the Southeast for sure to be able to do it, but I haven't decided yet. We'll see. Raven's working there. He's one half of the tag team champions there. You know, Rock and Roll Express are still there. Ricky Steamboat, even though he's retired, he's working there. Sherry Martel, who, when we let her go, she went here as well. Steve Williams, the Warlords working there. Tracy Smothers, Wolfie D. So, you know, it's an interesting company. But they're, like I said, they're up to third right now in the world. As we mentioned, you know, for some reason they have two different championships. So they have the USWA Heavyweight Championship, which Steve Williams has. And then they have the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know why it's called. Maybe I'm just not super familiar with USWA, but I don't know why that's called heavyweight, but whatever. That's kind of their secondary title. Women's Jacqueline, who is currently a 9-time champion. She was a 5-time champion, and then the series started. Actually, I guess technically she was a 6-time champion. When the series started, she's won it a couple more times. Marika Ishida's worked there or won the title a couple times there as well. World Heavyweight title. Hunter Hearst Helmsley had it for a little bit because he left WWF and was on a handshake. No, he was on a ring deal with WWF, and so it allowed him to work a handshake deal with USWA, and so he was the champion for a week before we signed him. Tag titles. Doug Gilbert and Raven, which is a very weird team, but they are 3-time champs. So very interesting stuff there. So yeah, kind of interesting to see some of the stuff there. They had a USWA Epic Event show recently. So Jerry Lawler defeat Brian Adams with a 72. Hector Guerrero defeated Steve Williams by DQ in a match that had been for the USWA Heavyweight title. 76. Best match of the night was Tony Anthony, Kamala, and Too Cool Scorpio defeating Jeff Jarrett and the Painkillers. So, you know, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff from them. Obviously, it's going to take a while for them to get to our level, but they are putting on good shows. They're just their attendance is not happening though. They had 366 people show up for this show. And they, to be fair, they ran the Mid-Atlantic though, but still. They only have 263,000 people watching their TV shows, so you know they got to keep building. But they're there. All Japan's hanging around here at number 4. I think I'm trying to remember if there's any weird ones here. Vader went there after he left us. Just so it's clear, you know, peeking behind the curtain a little bit here. We actually got into a bidding war with All Japan about Vader, and when they offered their contract, I was like, yeah, I can't. I don't want to spend that much on Vader. I mean, Vader's still good. You know, he's still really good over. He's here. He had a 60, so I mean, he's still good. He just, and that, to be fair, that was, you know, All Japan. So I don't know what he would be like, in a you know, in America where he has more popularity. But I didn't really want to spend that. Yeah, see, I didn't want to spend that much on Vader, because he's 40. He was 40 years old, and he was starting to decline and all that stuff. So I did not want to spend that much money on him. But that's where Vader went. They still have a lot of the people you would expect there for All Japan at this point. So yeah, they're number 4. Actually, we can look really quick. So titles, the All Asia Tag Team titles belong to Hashimoto and Hase. Triple Crown belongs to the Great Muta. Unified World Tag titles belongs to Kobashi and the original Tiger Mask. Junior Heavyweight is Kawada. And then the Champion Carnival has not been held at all, and neither has the Real World Tag League. New Japan coming in number 5 right now. They've got some stuff happening there, including, of course, the bigger surprise of all of this, Hulk Hogan, who's working there, still as the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He's still been the champion. He has held that title for over a year now, and he's had 12 defenses of it. So, typical Hogan stuff. Hold a title for over a year, defend it maybe once a month. Actually, a little bit less than once a month. So kind of makes sense there. Also, he's working heel as a turncoat, so it looks like they decided to form, this backstage pass is actually their version of the New World Order. With Chono and Yuji Nagata. So there you go. There's that. Not really any other big ones there. Rick Rude is working there. He's retired at this point, or he's not retired. He's, I don't know. No, they're just not using him as a wrestler, I guess. But he's there right now. The Steiners are still there. Road Warrior Hawk is there, but not Road Warrior Animal for whatever reason. Vince Torelli, aka Ken Shamrock, is working there. Kind of a weird thing there. We can look at the titles really quick here. So, Best of the Super Juniors was last won by El Samurai in '97 there. G1 Climax hasn't been. They had one last year, so it should be coming up here in the schedule. Riki Joshu won the G1 last year. Junior Heavyweight, Fujinami, 2-time champ here. He just won it recently, and he's already defended it 3 times. World Heavyweight, like we noticed, was Hogan. Inoki actually won the title in this save, and then vacated it when he retired, I believe, and now Hogan's been the champion for 386 days. It's only showing 5 on here because a lot of the other ones were before this. He hasn't actually defended that title since February. So he's been the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and has not defended the title since February. He defended it 3 times against Chono, and now he won't defend it against Chono because Chono's a good, because now they're in the same group, and he's defended it twice against Fujinami, and he hasn't defended it since then. That's all I meant to click. Wanted to see. I mean, he's still working. He just isn't defending the title for whatever reason. So I might go in and edit that to see if I can get him to try to defend the title a little bit more. Because it's weird that he's gone this whole time. He's working mostly tag and 6-man tag, which, to be fair, in that company, that's usually how that works. But yeah, so that's a thing. Tag champs are Masato Tanaka and Yuji Nagata. So 1/2 of Backstage Pass are the tag champs. They've had the titles for 103 days now. Super Grade Tag League, Nakanishi and Yatsu won the most recent one there. And the Young Lion Cup has not been fought for at all in this save. So that's New Japan. CMLL, we'll take a quick look at them. Still working here. Not sure if there's anybody that's a surprise here. They did start getting a few females, kind of help bolster up their division a little, or their women's division a little bit. But I think a lot of them were just kind of to be expected. Like they got Ronda Singh. She's there. She's currently the women's world champion there. So, you know, kind of stuff to be expected there. As, you know, women's world champion, Ronda Singh there. Two-time champion. So that's there. World heavyweight champion, Paulo Dantes. I'm not super familiar with CMLL, so I'm not going to be super familiar with some of these people, but there's your light heavyweight champion. Middleweight is El Dandy. Tag champs are the Headhunters. Interesting. They've held the titles for 707 days, and they've yet to defend them. So they're just like, we're just hanging out with the titles. I'm like, screw you guys. We're going to do our own thing. I mean, they've been in matches where, you know, I mean, Headhunter A has actually been in a lot more singles matches than he has in tag matches. He's been rarely teaming up with his tag partner. And it's been a lot of pre-show stuff. He hasn't worked the main show in forever. That's crazy. I have to adjust those titles as well, because, you know, probably be defending them. Trios champs. There's that. Welterweight, Puroth Jr. National Cruiserweight is Octagon. National Heavyweight is Rey Mysterio. That's not Rey Mysterio Jr. That's actual Rey Mysterio. Speaking of Rey Mysterio Jr., he was the Mexican National Cruiserweight Champion for a while there. Had 48 defenses of the title. Good lord, look at all these defenses for these guys. El Santanico, before the champion before this, had 67 defenses of it. Octagon's held the title for 55 days, and he's had 22 successful defenses of it. Like, every match he has is for the title. And we were light heavyweight, Lismark Jr., world middleweight, Dr. Wagner Jr., and world welterweight is Rey Mysterio Jr. Who it is kind of disappointing I can't get him right now, but, you know, I have to wait a year and 5 months. See, that was kind of the problem with bringing him in, is CMLL offered him $195,000 a month. Like, Rey Mysterio is amazing, don't get me wrong. Especially this age and all that, you know, in this time frame. But, like, he would have been one of the highest paid people on my roster, and he wouldn't have been a main eventer at that point. So it would have been really weird. But, I mean, in CML, he's just killing it right now. He's probably going to end up being one of the better performers of the year. He's 35-72 so far in 1997, though, which is kind of funny, but he's on like a billion match winning streak, apparently. He's won a ton of matches there, the last few there. Just a ton of title defenses. So yeah, there's CML out there. AAA, we'll look at them. AAA is just kind of falling apart a little bit. So they, where was it at? I don't know, maybe it was just recently, I guess, I don't know. But, AAA does not have an owner or a booker right now. They're still running shows, though. But as you can see, their roster is that. That's all they have for their roster right now. It is barely anything. And somehow they're trying to hold it together. So it's not good. They are struggling. They're still making money, though. Somehow they're still making money. But they are, you know, they're in a weird position right now. Champions, National Light Heavyweight is Conan. Middleweight is Viano 5. Tag champs, Cybernetico and Mysterioso. Trios are vacant, probably because they don't really have enough people to do trios. And then welterweight is Cien Caras. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, hopefully they start hiring more people, but it'll be interesting to see if they actually, you know, survive in this, really. We'll look at the top 10, and we'll look at a couple of other ones. So World Wrestling Council, WWC here. As you see, they've got a decent roster. Kind of a weird roster for 1997, but it's decent. You know, Too Cool Scorpio there. Bob Backlund, who's actually wrestling, is there. Brian Adams is there. Buddy Landell is working there. Chris Adams is working there. Glenn Gilberti, because we don't want him, so he's working in WWC. Jake Roberts. Jesse Ventura is either announcer or color guy for him. Kamala's working there. He's a member of the Unstable. That's interesting. Miss Tex is working there. Paparazzi. I'm not sure. El Exotica. Okay. Precious Lucy, aka Lufisto, is there. Lufisto is someone who I have an eye on, but I'm waiting for the time being because I want her to kind of build up her stats a little bit before I bring her into our women's division. Because she just recently debuted in wrestling. Yeah, just a couple months ago, she debuted in wrestling. She got hired on by 2 companies right away and then walked out on one of them shortly afterwards. So, Steve Williams is there. Taz is working there, which is kind of weird. Vampire Warrior's there. Virgil's there because he has to work somewhere, I guess. He was ranked 85th in the world. What the hell? Why did I miss that? Anyway, Caribbean heavyweight, Miguel Perez Jr., Puerto Rico heavyweight, Tom Zank. Television, El Bronco 1. Universal heavyweight, Chicky Star. Women's is vacant. Hasn't had a champion since October of 95, so clearly not really doing much of anything there. But, you know, they have Miss Texas and Precious Lucy, aka Lufisto now, so maybe they can have a match for it. Junior heavyweight, amongst Paparazzi, and then the tag champs are El Bronco #1 and Mark Youngblood. So there's that. Kind of interesting stuff. FMW's up here at number 9. Kind of to be expected with the people who are here. Bobby Duncombe Jr. working there. Bruce Hart, of course, who just got hired there. Devin Storm is working there. He's another one we're keeping an eye on for the future. Dynamite Kid is working there as a road agent. Surprised he hasn't got into a fight with somebody yet. Everyone else, you know, kind of to be expected. Although, you know, a few females working there, but kind of be expected there. Titles, Brass Knuckles champion is Onita. Kind of makes sense. He's a 9-time champion. Tag champs, Cooley SZ and Bulldog KT. 5-time champs. And then the Independent World Junior Heavyweight Championship is this person here, who's a 3-time champ. So there you go. They're kind of hanging around. And then Smoky Mountain Wrestling is number 10. Smoky Mountain Wrestling is our developmental company. I think I've kind of talked about that a little bit, but they're our developmental company. We bought them out. Kind of made sense that we bought them out. We put Harley Race in as the CEO and Luke Williams as the booker. They are, you know, they're hanging in. I mean, they're ranked 10th now, so they're getting there. Not everybody on this list is on our developmental thing. We've hired a couple more people since the last time I looked at this as a developmental. And we'll kind of look at that a little bit. Titles. The Beat the Champ television champion is Brian Lawler. The heavyweight champion is Tommy Rich. And the tag champs are D'Lo Brown and Dirty White Boy, which is kind of an interesting combination there. But yeah, they're owned by us. They're currently being, you know, we're having some people there. We can look at that really quick, and I want to put that up because I don't remember. Slight spoilers, so I'm not gonna reveal that right now. We'll look at this though. So here's our people in development right now: Charlie Haas, Chavo Guerrero Jr., Chris Harris, Chris Justice, aka Future Abyss, Draws, Dave Batista, Don Callis, Evan Courageous, Jack Doan, James Storm, Kid Chaos, Lenny Lane, Lisa Moretti. We brought her in and then we put her in developmental because she just wasn't super great, but Mark Henry, Matt Bloom, Pero Aguayo Jr., Plumerico, Ricky Banderas, Rob Conway, Sean Stasiak, Steve Blackman, Supernova, Yoshihiko Tamura, and Yumiko Hata. A few of these people will probably be bringing up here soon. But they're still working down there, so oops. Well, slight spoilers revealed. We have a couple of our women's division who will be coming in here soon. Kind of forgot to click off of that, but that's all right. So let's look at a couple of other companies really quick here. We got ECW still hanging around. They are currently almost $1 million in the hole, which definitely makes sense. definitely makes sense. Todd Gordon was released by ECW a few months ago, which was kind of weird. But they just ran Heatwave 97, which saw Rick Steiner defeat One Man Gang in a tables match to retain the heavyweight championship to an 82 rating. Also featured Tommy Dreamer defeating Doink the Clown in an I Quit match to retain the television championship, because of course, why not? It's it's interesting. It's 1997, and this is your roster for ECW, which is kind of weird. Some of the names working here is kind of weird. Canyon's working there. He's on a handshake deal with us, but he's also on a handshake deal with them. Obviously Doink the Clown is kind of an obvious one, as a weird one, but he's set to retire here soon, so he won't be working for them much longer. Well, he will be, but it'll probably be in some other role. Trying to think of some of the other ones that are weird, like Jim Duggan being there. He's currently working in ECW, which is kind of hilarious if you think about it. But at least he'd be able to use his 2x4 all the time, so there's that. One Man Gang is there. Pat Patterson is there. Pat Patterson is a road agent in ECW right now, because WWF let him go, and I decided not to bring him in. So he's working in ECW as a road agent and personality. So there's that. Ricky Steamboat's also there as a road agent right now. He's one I thought about bringing in as a road agent, but we're kind of good road agent wise right now, so I don't necessarily know if I need to. Even if we did just let Taskmaster go. All the other ones, kind of make sense a little bit. Patriots there, but kind of makes sense, I guess. So yeah. Well, also Thrasher is there, but not Mosh for some reason. Actually, I think Mosh is working in our developmental company. Well, Thrasher's working in our developmental company too, but I don't think he's under a developmental deal. But yeah, so it's kind of weird. ECW is still kind of doing weird things there. Rick Steiner's the world champ. Held the title for a little while now. Tag champs are the Pitbulls. They just won the titles. And Tommy Dreamer is the television champion. So, and Doink the Clown was actually the television champion before Tommy Dreamer. Doink the Clown was the ECW World Television Champion for, what was that, 8 months there? Had 14 defenses. So, good for him. Kind of weird, but good for him. So it's kind of interesting. They're losing money. They gained money this month. But they are losing money, so they're gonna have to we're gonna have to see if they end up potentially needing a bailout. They are we do have a relationship with them. Talent trading relationship, but we haven't really taken advantage of it. Raven's working for both us and ECW. So we haven't really taken advantage of that, but we'll see. OVW is just starting. ECWA is still kind of hanging around. And they've got an interesting roster as well. As you see there, it is something. I'm not sure what to think about it, but it is something. Kind of makes sense for 97 indie. I saw Bruno Sammartino working there for some reason, so that's kind of weird. But yeah, so that's kind of a look at the rest of the wrestling world, really. Kind of seeing how things are happening around it. Here's a bunch of people that have entered wrestling, including Bill Goldberg. No, we have not brought Bill Goldberg in to anywhere yet. I don't even know he's had a match. He has not had a match yet. I don't necessarily plan on bringing Bill Goldberg in. This is going to be a WCW without Bill Goldberg. Nora Greenwald is here, though. So I have to look into her, especially since I need to get her a picture, but I need to look into her, bringing her in. You know, obviously, Nora Greenwald, a.k.a. future Molly Holly. So she would be interesting to bring in. Shark Boy's here. Danny Dorian is here. PJ Black is here. Super young PJ Black. Ron Killings is officially wrestling now. Michael Cole. Michael Cole. I don't know why he's got wrestling stats, but whatever. Beautiful Bruce is here. Master P. Ricky Banderas. I don't know why none of these people have pictures either. Jenna Jameson is here. Definitely got to bring in Jenna Jameson. Bring her in as a personality. Snitsky, Feinstein, Corgan. I gotta figure out why they don't have pictures either. Because some of these ones do, but then for some reason over the last few months, a few of them do, I guess. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, so that's kind of a look at the rest of the wrestling world. If there's anything you guys want to see in the future at all, like I'm not gonna consistently show you like the weekly results week after week. But if there's anything you want to see in future things, like maybe you want to take a quick look at different companies every month or two, just let me know. I don't mind kind of showing that stuff off as we kind of look at the rest of the wrestling world, because obviously this is a WCW save, and obviously we're focused on continuing to have WCW be the #1 company in the world and all that, but it still doesn't hurt to look around at the rest of the wrestling world as well, especially as we continue on in this. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all for hanging out watching this. I know it's not, our usual episode in this series, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting to do that, with this having to be a gap week instead of just skipping an episode altogether. We'll just give you guys an episode of of looking at the rest of the world, wrestling world that is in the save. So thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for watching, and we will catch you in a future video.